resources aligning. And then lastly, hospitalist recruiting. We've recruited 2 per diem hospitalists. We had made an offer to a full-time hospitalist that I just learned yesterday was declined. So we're still going to be not as robustly staffed as we would like and still have some locums use going forward. But Mitch is working aggressively to address that.
Do we have a reason for the decision to decline?
We have several potential reasons. She, for scheduling and lifestyle reasons, opted to take a position in urgent care rather than working as a hospitalist.
That being said, I was talking to Dr. Hibbs about it, and he's had 2 positions decline because we don't have access to Christian school.
To what?
A Christian school. Private Christian school. So
all the way through high school, perhaps.
So do you prefer to wait, or do you want to give us a sense of what your crafted response is going to be to the Department of Corrections? Rather, because if you think that you should wait because you haven't crafted a response,
I'd rather wait.
I can wait, that's fine.
We are still going through and looking at what they're asking for.
Okay.
What's the deadline for the RFP?
The 6th.
6th of September. So we will have responded before the next one.
Oh, I'm corrected. The board.
Before-ish.
We'll have Susan work on that as soon as she's done.
I think it'd be interesting, maybe not now, maybe 6 months down the road, if hospice friends are going to take off with this, no one dies alone, to have a presentation on that too.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
I'm sure they'd be happy to.
Sure. Good. Any questions for Dr. Martin? Additional questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Dr. Okay, CFO, of course.
Okay. I'll try to keep my attitude in check. You have the printed report here, and I'm glad to answer any questions. I also have a number of other items that I want to execute. Thank you. Can I answer any questions on the report?
Any questions about the report or the numbers?
There was one question I had, and it may be addressed up above, and I'm just not matching it in the brain here. The operating income for hospital and urgent care, variance from the budget. I think it's on page 24.
Yes.
Which is wildly different than the budget.
Oh, for urgent care?
And hospital.
Yes. Hospital, lower volume. I think also probably some delayed billing issues as well, but I'm happy that you brought up urgent care. And I can certainly address that in a little more detail. Now that we have Cerner, we are able to drill in and see the data on revenue by payer and payment rate by payer for urgent care and some of our clinics directly as well. Over the last several years, we've been using a percentage, I think it's 37% as a contractual percentage, which would then imply that we're getting paid 67% of charge, or 63% of charges for urgent care. And our first, it looks like that is not correct. And based on the data we've been able to see, we made a change to what we were recognizing as contractual adjustments for urgent care. And what we put in last month and the previous month was based on that kind of preliminary look, and it was increased to, I think, a little over 50%, assuming that we were getting paid much less than what we've been assuming over the last several years. I actually have, our director of finance actually ran some reports over the last couple of days, and it looks like it's more like we're getting paid around 40-some%. And we're looking at the what the payer mix is, and we'll definitely really make sure that we're getting everything that we should get. But what this reflects is that we actually have lost in urgent care because of what we're actually getting paid from payers. So what we'll need to do, and we put District 2 board on alert on Monday night, that we would likely be coming back to them with the data and asking for a subsidy. In the past, District 2 has subsidized District 1 for the losses of urgent care, and we actually had a subsidy for many, many years. It got up to $160,000 a year. We haven't had that for several years, but now as we're actually seeing this data and understanding what we're getting paid, we need to go back and actually charge them that subsidy, which means they would be covering that loss for us, so that we would be at breakeven.
So my understanding then that we budgeted for that loss, but the loss wasn't as bad as we thought it would be. Is that urgent care
No, we actually budgeted for a gain in urgent care, and based on our new data, we actually have a loss of $94,000 in urgent care year to date.
okay.
The month was a lot of catch-up for volume.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, does that make sense?
Yes, thank
So I'm
you.
really glad you brought that up, because that was I wanted to mention that to you anyway. So we will be going back to them probably next month with more detailed data so that they understand. You know, I think they acknowledge, yeah, we felt like it wasn't necessarily a surprise. So,
Okay.
all right.
So you budgeted, like we budgeted more of a loss at the clinics than last year. Are we likely to see the effect of some efficiencies or increased patient volumes on clinic revenue at some point?
Well, I think we created the budget based on what the staffing plan was, when we'd be bringing on providers, et cetera. I think we've actually done some recruiting outside what the budget was. So it's hard to say. I think that it certainly is possible that we would have a bit more revenue, but I don't think it would be vastly different. Julie, unless you have something to add.
We budgeted a substantial decrease in volume for the Cerner implementation.
Yes.
So Libby, on the unit, back to that unit operating income, and on the hospital side, you have the actual year-to-date and then prior year-to-date, there's $1 million variance there.
Yes,
So is that,
there is.
okay, what's,
Well, I think if we, it's probably due to a number of things. I think we have seen more bad debt in charity this year than we have last year. That certainly is $1 million. We've seen revenue not be quite what we expected. I mean, if we look at our revenue variance here, we're down in gross revenue about $513,000. Overall, our contractuals are significantly above budget. I think we'll be able to use the same methodology that I described with urgent care to drill in to our hospital contractuals to make sure that we're calculating those correctly. Expenses we've managed very well.
But we have some plans at this point to do some serious assessment of resources and to try to condense down. In some areas we're over-resourced. And so we're working on, this was discussed briefly in the finance committee, working on assessing where we have maybe more resources that are expensive. Well, among other things, human resources, capital expenditures, cost of facilities.
So, a couple of things. Again, implementation of Cerner is seen in the entire revenue profile, charge profile, volume profile. I think what you're seeing in budget to actual is that we actually were able to turn that around in a place like the clinic quicker than we anticipated. Compared to last year, however, we deliberately backed up volumes. All Cerner came up, we knew we weren't going to be able to do that. Likewise, at the same time, we were incurring additional costs to bring Cerner up. So we, I think, went into this project eyes wide open and did a reasonably good job of budgeting it. But we are anticipating that reimbursement on our Kaiser contract is going to improve after pick up in July. So none of this comes as a surprise. We have a number of programs that are starting. We have a number of reasons to believe that we're going to be seeing a lot of growth. And to Leon's point, I think it's just very important that we control the increasing costs around these programs.
And I think we spoke also to the revenue cycle earlier. We do have work to do in the revenue cycle. We've got a daily meeting where the revenue generating departments come together and we review the charges that came through the previous day. And we're still working through a lot of bugs, how things were set up. I'll give you an example. We found recently that because of the way the item master was set up in materials, that we would see a bill come through from Women's Health that had the fee for insertion of an IUD, and then there would be a fee for an IUD and then backed off. So we found things like this. I think there's going to be, in many cases, rebilling with corrections for things as we're seeing, and the reason that happened is that the IUD itself was set up in the materials item master as something that was not billable, when it in fact is billable. And those things are being seen and corrected, but it's taking a little bit of time. So I'm hoping to see the revenue, pop up a bit. The other thing, Bob, is I think, I'm sharing this cash, and you'll notice that in the month of July, the Cerner average daily cash collections was actually below 200,000, and we've been running above 200,000 for, at least a couple of months. Before the finance committee meeting on Tuesday, I went out for the month of August to see what it looked like average, and the average for that period of time was 255,000. So I think, it's a combination of billing correctly, or getting paid, or, all of that. So does that make sense?
Sorry.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
So my last question,
Sure.
under expenses, can we look at purchase services?
Yes, that would relate to Cerner as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what all,
I can tell you what
that's pretty broad area.
Well, it is, but there were resources hired to support the coding department, and we did not receive bills from them. We got a whole bolus at once, and they were more than we thought they would be as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that reflects expenses for that company. The HIM director and I are having conversations with the company to audit those bills, because we actually are concerned that they may not have been completely accurate.
Yeah.
And we've even gone into our own system where we can monitor how many of their employees were actually in our system, how long they were in our system doing the coding. And I have every intention of asking them to refund or to not pay them anymore. And they did not cut back when we asked them to cut back. So there was a large amount that came through for that company during the month of July.
If you look at our payers, what percentage of our payers of our payments for our overall revenue comes from Kaiser? Do you have an idea?
I cannot answer that, but I'll find out. No, I actually can't off the top of my head. I think it's a fair amount, though, because we have so many people covered by the PEB. Although I was looking at our own employees coverage today on something else I'll mention to you here, and we don't have that many of our own employees covered by Kaiser, which is interesting to me, because Kaiser and Uniform Health are the two companies that are offered through the PEB. And I think we have like 390 enrollees in insurance, and only 57 of them are Kaiser, which is interesting to me. I was very surprised by that.
Well, the reason that I ask this, and I wish it were a higher percentage, but that 15% increase in compensation,
It will make a difference. It will make a difference.
We're hoping to persuade them to retroactively make up the difference. well, at least some of the time that we were underpaid, they didn't budge on their own.
So can I just speak to revenue factor? We are paid off of contract for every service that we provide, and we don't have a mechanism for reconciling what we receive to what the contract said we should. That's the work that I'm on really
Yes,
focused
yes,
on,
yes.
coming up with a way. And so I suspect there's a lot to correction to go on in that net number.
Right.
So is the reason that they refuse to make a retroactive payment saying long?
No, because they were not going to give us an increase at all for a very long time. They finally agreed, they finally acknowledged, which is, I cannot emphasize enough how unusual this is and rare. They finally acknowledged that they had been underpaying us. That is huge. So they gave us a double-digit increase for this year, a double-digit increase for next year, and then something like 9% the following year. It would have been wonderful. Look,
Well, which I appreciate.
yes,
But they were paying, we
Way
had
too
a lousy
much.
contract. They were
They were
paying
following
less,
the contract.
they were
Yes.
paying less than Medicaid rates, and it
Yes.
took a year and a half to get to a new contract with us.
yes.
Is the 9% or the 15% next year or the year after? And then
I think it's 15% this year. I don't think it's 15% next year. It's probably something like 13.
But is it cumulative? In
Well,
other
it would
words,
be on top of, yeah,
On
an
top of,
additional
so-
increase on top. And yes, so will that catch us up? Maybe close to it, but it is irritating that they would not go back.
We don't have a way to,
We can cancel the contract.
we don't have a way to keep her honest about following the
Oh.
contract. And
Well, they follow the
reimbursing.
contract. They
Okay.
follow the
But
contract.
as far as, if they say that they're gonna pay like 65% of whatever procedure, we don't have a way to ensure that they're actually doing that.
Right now, we don't.
There's no like signals that the computer doesn't beep or anything when that doesn't happen.
That would be very nice.
I know
but
that
no.
you're going to do an alignment here. I mean, can we put into effect a mechanism for the future for all our contracts?
Well, that's what we would like to do. Yes, we would like to make sure that we have a method by which we do that review. And whether or not, I do think that the Cerner system, as painful as it has been in some areas, it's going to give us a lot better data than we had before, and we're going to be able to drill in. I mean, to be able to drill into urgent care and see info by payer might sound like it should be pretty easy, but it never was. So, and now it will be.
When
So,
was the contract negotiated with Kaiser?
which one? The
Well,
newest one?
no, what prior?
Well, it wasn't with Kaiser, it was with Group
With
Health.
Group Health,
And it
correct.
was a long time ago, I think,
Yeah.
and then we did renewals.
So we have a new negotiator for those things.
We do, yes.
Because that's really crucial.
Yes, but I also think there has to be more ownership with us to be monitoring that as well. We had, the previous company that we had working with us, I don't think was quite as helpful as this person that we're using now, and the person we're using now is a lot less expensive, I figured. So, but we do need to have ownership.
I don't think we could effectively gotten to the data in Paragon.
No, which is very good.
So I think this is the right time to start that reconciliation process.
Mhm.
But then I think it's just critical. I mean, anytime you get a denial, you immediately start chasing those dollars. And you need to know if the contract is 80%, well, you're getting 80%. And it's really easy for plans to start disallowing components of a bill. And your 80% all of a sudden turns into 45%. And we just did not have the mechanism to chase those kinds of variations.
We actually get faxes pretty frequently from our insurers, individual insurers saying, oh, we're changing this element. This is an amendment, and it's not an amendment that we have an opportunity to sign. It's an amendment saying we are changing this unilaterally. So it's pretty
They can't do that with rates.
No.
But there are terms.
But they
in
can
the
choose,
contract
yeah.
that the insurance commissioner
Right.
allows.
Right. Pardon?
Okay.
Well, yes, they do, they arrive on the facts, yeah, so anyway, we're looking, trying to get on top of all the issues, they're charging their payment, and a lot of things, so, but our volume is not necessarily all that strong either, so. Is that,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that we're looking back after the fact, see what's cleared through, what they've disallowed, and because the industry's known to kind of drop.
oh, they are, and, we've also been very careful to monitor because each payer contract has a period of time within which they'll allow you to submit a bill. And with the things, with the backlog in coding, which we tried to address by bringing in these extra resources, we were trying to be very careful to make sure we got things coded and out the door before we hit that deadline. And I think generally we did a good job. I'm not aware that we had things that we were not able to bill. So,
Thank you.
okay, you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments before? I know you had something.
Yeah,
else
we
to
actually
talk
have,
about.
I actually have a number of things.
Sure, anything about the numbers before? All right, go ahead.
Okay, this has to do with the purchase of Ellensburg Pediatrics. Wanted to talk a little bit about how we're handling the rural health component of that. The Ellensburg Pediatrics is a rural health clinic, and we went through some analysis to determine whether or not it made sense for us to try to transfer that designation to us, or whether we should handle it differently. And we talked to Davis Sarko Associates, our CPA firm, and did some other research, and decided that it made sense to not transfer that at this point. But because the plan is to eventually, when we're over in the MAC building with family medicine Ellensburg, we would have women's health there and potentially Ellensburg Pediatrics to be part of that. We'll have one large rural health clinic. And part of the reason there is that Ellensburg Pediatrics rural health payment rate is around $100. And our payment rates in our rural health clinics is over $200 for each one of ours. So rather than go through the process of transferring theirs to then potentially change it later when they're all co-located, we determined that it would be best just to not build them as a rural health clinic in the interim. So
For the 2 months.
Well, this wouldn't be until family medicine Ellensburg.
Oh.
They have to be in the same room.
right, they have to be the
Okay.
same physical location. Not necessarily the same suite, but the same physical location.
But there's a lot of benefits as we sort of do just some 30,000-foot evaluations. Ellensburg fees, I think, is 30% below the state average in encounter rates right now. So we may potentially lose a little bit of net revenue, but in the long run, it will serve as a better decision.
So we wanted to ask the board for authority to execute the purchase agreement with Ellensburg Pediatrics. We're working on that right now, and I think it's the documents that we have we'd like to close on September 1st. That purchase agreement is simply because you cannot buy medical practice. We are purchasing equipment and supplies, and then also purchasing the net value of their accounts receivable.
They were thinking there's an assessment or a auditor that would evaluate.
There was an inventory person who went through and valued that equipment and supplies that was used to
Impartial
purchase.
third party.
Absolutely, that's what they do, yes. And our materials director got several recommendations of firms that would be used for that, so.
So, are there any questions or concerns or comments before we move on that?
Do we need to see the document before we give authority to purchase?
What I would like authority to do, because we're not, that is a limited the assets we're acquiring is Med-AR. and the fair market value of the practice assets themselves. I would like, we'd like us to close on the first, as Libby said, so I would like the authority to go ahead and execute that agreement, limiting it to those two items, and I do not anticipate that it will be anywhere near $75,000 for the total. Yeah, between the two of them, but I think we need the authority to do that. I think we need this deal done. The rest of it is done through contracted. We're employing a number of the folks that are there in the contracting position.
So I move that we grant the authority to the CEO to implement the purchase of the ARVAs and physical assets of
Second, Bob, did you have a question or comment?
So we'll see the final numbers. You know,
We'll have more to share.
Any additional questions or concerns before we vote? It's moved and seconded. Any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the purchase order, please. That's right. The authority to purchase those assets. Please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Then I have a few other items. We wanted to follow up with you on how rehab's doing since we looked at rehab visions. And we did a quick analysis, and it looks like that we're actually, we've really done a tremendous turnaround from a loss of almost 200,000 in 2015 to, it looks like we'll be around 250,000 positive in 2018.
Would you repeat that?
We're going to a position of a positive position as far as income, operating income, to roughly 200 to 250,000 this year. And I think on top of that, people are getting into.
So that's
really
a
looking at it.
$400,000.
It's a big difference.
That's
So,
huge.
so it's good to have people who know how to run rehab.
So I think we're going to have Bill back in September. We'll start seeing some patient satisfaction or perception scores, which are other metrics that they're required to report to us, and then also access. And I know Rhonda's been working on access both for home health for physical therapy, but then also we heard from our orthopedic surgeons that they wanted their patients to get infusion quicker. So a lot of really targeted improvement going on.
That's great. Any questions about the rehab?
And I have more.
I'm assuming that the employee satisfaction rehab visions is still positive.
I am not hearing anything. Are you hearing anything?
Oh, thank you very much, Michelle.
Well, it's I haven't heard anything. Seems to be anything else about rehab or Libby?
I have a lot to
Just want to keep talking until you retire.
I gave her all these and sticky notes.
She gave it to me, right?
That's okay. Go. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
I wanted to give you, I think we had mentioned at a previous meeting, the government accounting standard board ruling regarding post-retirement benefits.
Oh, right.
The liability.
That
I think we
one.
discussed
Yeah, right.
that. We discussed a little bit in Cheyenne, I think, actually.
Yes.
We have an estimate of what we would be required to record likely as a liability and expense for 2018 should we choose to stay with this. And it would be roughly $1.6 million. And that would be an expense that would hit our books. As a liability, it would reduce our operating income by $1.6 million.
Is that less than we were thinking it would be?
So can I exercise my outreach
This year,
here?
yes.
So what we have are three hospitals. One has 93 employees, one has 188, and it has 367. And these are the actuarials that were developed for folks who previously, who over the years have been in the PEP. We will not have that kind of liability to go through our fund balance. So in this first year, it's just going to hit the income statement. The place with 93 employees is having to book $1,966,000 as a liability. You never will realize this liability. It just takes it straight out of fund balance. Their annual increase is $304,000 a year in expenses. Again, they'll never realize that expense. The organization with 188 employees is having to book $3.3 million in prior period, and they anticipate $575,000 additional. The one with 267, which is similar to us, not quite as large as we are, is booking $6.7 million and will realize $850,000. The number that Libby's quoting for you is for 500 employees, that's the expense. But had we been in the Fed previously, we would be booking $10.6 million in liability.
So it's good that we got out for
So
7
yeah,
years.
right.
Yeah.
Good news.
Well, yeah, actually.
But we have not made a decision
Well,
yet.
no, but we did listen to a presentation. Actually, Ben Lindepool did pull something together, ultimately. And we listened to a presentation, I think a week and a half ago. I'm going to talk with this woman tomorrow from Parker Smith and Peak, a firm in Seattle. And they are, we can go through this process with them to determine, to go out to the market to see who might want to insure us. Okay, what our options might be. The other thing is we may reach out individually to insurers to see if they would be interested in taking us on as well. We have to work pretty quickly here because we have to give the PEB, I believe, 60 days notice.
We have to notify by November 1.
Yeah, by November 1 if we're going to be out. But, we've got some other work to do clearly to figure out what our options are.
If we opt out, we don't have to.
We don't have to record this. No. No. But, we were self-insured for several years, and then we just went back to the Fed. But I think we have to do what's right for us and what's right for our employees as well.
But there's the option of the protest claims, right?
There's the option, yes.
That's a road we don't really want to go
Well,
down.
probably not. Although we have built into our debt covenants that we will not be penalized for these things. They will carve this out when they're doing the calculation to see if we're meeting our debt covenants. But we still don't want our audit report to show that we lost all this money. They would probably give us some sort of qualification on our opinion because we didn't follow the GASB account. Yeah.
And so is this an ongoing thing, or would this be a one-time charge?
Well, we'd be charged with it every year. The other maddening thing, and I'm surprised you didn't say this, what they're doing is they're applying statewide averages. And so they calculate this liability based on the statewide assumptions about how many of your employees are going to retire and choose to use or purchase PEB policies to cover them. And we went back and saw, I think Dan gave you numbers, it was something like 9. Historically, we had 9, and I'm sure it's way more than 9 for 1.5. Yeah, I mean, but they're not willing to kind of look at.
I'm not sure they can.
Yeah, and the other thing that we heard in the presentation that really this kind of came about a lot from education districts. So anyway, I just wanted to give you an update as to where we are. We are starting to explore what other options we might have, but just so you know
Is
what's going
Blue
on there.
Cross Blue Shield a possible insurer?
Possibly, we talked about reaching out to Kaiser. We don't have a lot of employees on Kaiser, which I'm not exactly sure. Although I guess the uniform is our core plan, which is the one that we pay for 100%. And
There are all sorts of possibilities at this
Right.
point.
so we could do all kinds of things.
So this hospital is booking $10.6 million as a liability and taking it through their fund balance this year. There's a lot of gaming going on, and hospitals are going, okay, we're going to go out for a bond in 3 years, so we're going to go into this losing all this money. The year we want to turn our income statement around, because we get all that money back. Again, no one will ever realize this liability or this expense. So you push it right back through the income statement and balance sheet. In a year that you want to go out and full fund it.
And they did great this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, the consequences, I think, are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, well, it's funny money for sure. That's,
Wait, I just.
Any other questions on that?
Do you have more?
I do have one more, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
One more item. It's just a quick ACO update. As we told you a month or so ago, we joined an ACO, or we were signed up to join an ACO starting, becoming effective January 2019. Since that time, CMS has come out with some pronouncements around ACOs and participation in ACOs, and that has sort of changed the situation. I think we told you that when we signed up that there are 3-year increments of membership and no downsides for us for the first 3 years, and if we were to re-up, no downside the second 3 years. So essentially, we'd be protected for 6 years from the downside on this ACO. The CMS has gone back and kind of changed the ruling here, and if we were to stay on the plan we're going to follow, it's really no longer available that we would have no downside for 6 years. So I spoke to the people at Caravan, the Caravan ACO company, and they've come up with a bit of an alternative that we're sort of trying to figure out if this really makes sense. They could fold us into the prior requirements of programs by having us enter this ACO in January as if it's the second year of a 3-year commitment. And then they'd be able to guarantee no downside for those 2 years and no downside for an additional 3 years, because we would be grandfathered into the old regulations. I know.
Okay.
Yes. So we're trying to get a little more information about that. We're not really, I can't tell you we've come up with a firm decision.
Is the rule final?
I don't know that it is final, it's just proposed.
A lot of funny things going on.
I know.
That's why she did all the sticky things.
That's why she made me talk about these.
That's why she gets the sticky things.
So anyway, that's just a heads up on that. And nothing decided yet, because again, we don't know what the final rule is, but in order to take advantage of this offer to slide into year 2, we have to decide by September 15th.
Would it not be year 2 until at the end of 2019, or would they actually consider that first year?
2019 would have been our first year. We're taking this year to prep and be ready.
Okay. Just like
launch.
a trial period before.
Well, actually, there's a lot of lead work that has to be done, and then we just go
Is there
live.
any reason that we shouldn't take it?
We just want to make sure that we understand everything associated with this offer. I'll put it that way.
So that's good.
Okay.
Fine print.
Exactly, the fine print. And you know, I'm done with that. With that report, my report is complete.
Well, wait a second, we may want to grill you. Any additional questions or comments, Libby, before we go to the finance committee? Okay, thank you, Libby.
Libby, that was a lot. It was very well presented.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Finance Committee. One piece of information that isn't part of the Finance Committee, but you mentioned doing this, are accountants. What's the name of the young woman who used to come regularly along with
Abby.
Abby?
Yes, Abby Smith.
And Abby Smith, okay, do you remember her? Very, very impressive. She left and is now the CFO at a hospital in the
Yeah,
Eastern
Eastern
Washington. Which one?
Eastern Washington,
Sure.
so Brewster, might be
Yeah,
Brewster.
Brewster. Anyway, you might be interested if you remember her. Also, as you know, the leadership of the committee decided it was time to reconstitute the committee in light of the fact that the financial sustainability component of our strategic plan is really pretty heavyweight material, and we felt that we weren't getting good attendance from the community members. One person was gone for 6 months a year, living elsewhere. The other 3, at least 2 of them had commitments beyond KVH that kept them away from many meetings. And then one person just shows up sporadically, maybe once or twice a year. So with the new responsibilities that are going to be associated with financial sustainability, it seemed imperative to have regular attendance. So we have had one new member join, Deborah Bazona, who's a retired former insurance broker and adjuster who lives in Oldsburg and who's very smart, very dedicated, very committed, going to be a good addition to the community. And we have another name that has been suggested, and I need to talk with Julie and Libby about it before I name that person. But we're still looking for 1 or 2 new community members.
So when you say reconstituting the committee, you don't mean changing the makeup of it in terms of how many slots there are created. You're just talking about different people in those slots.
Right. It's a way, euphemistically, of saying we're kicking out the others. but it isn't really kicking them out. I mean, they've all been notified. I spoke in person to 3 of them, and they were all very gracious and very understanding, and in some senses kind of relieved not to have to make 7:30 on Tuesday morning. So it's
Not to feel guilty about not making.
So that's a piece of information. We, discussed the financials, and we had 2 capital expenditure requests, and they've been in your packet, or one is in your supplemental. The first is the HVAC unit replacement for Dr. Hershey's suite. Originally, it was thought to come under the $20,000 ceiling, but it now is going to be about $24,000, so we need to authorize the purchase of that so that the people in Dr. Hershey's offices don't overheat or freeze. The second request is for a portable x-ray machine, which enables us to be more nimble when we're dealing with patients. Sometimes the patient can't come to the imaging area, and this way we can bring the x-ray to the person. We do have an old unit which is no longer up to speed, so we want to purchase a new one. Am I correct?
And that's one of the things that's surplus.
Yeah, exactly. Good eye. Those 2 mobile x-ray units would be surplus. So, do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of the HVAC unit replacement?
Is there a page that corresponds to that one right there? It's for X-ray units?
Yeah,
It's in the supplemental.
Doing that.
Don't the supplementals usually have drop off?
who's doing the HVAC unit? What do you mean?
It's- Yeah.
Thank you, Apollo.
So you want to start with the HVAC?
Yeah,
All right. So
actually, I can move purchase.
I'll second.
Okay.
I moved by Leona, second by Roy. Any additional questions or discussion? This is to place the HVAC unit for Dr. Hershey's suite. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving this capital expenditure request, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Now, Leona, you want to go to the portable X-ray unit capital expenditure?
Right. I can't find my sheet on that, but
28.
yeah, okay, it's, original, you know that you've heard this rationale a number of times, that we lease a lot of equipment because certain kinds of equipment become obsolete quickly, and purchasing them, requires an outlay of a lot of money, and if they have to be replaced frequently, it becomes, counterproductive fiscally. However, some pieces of equipment have longer lives, and is in our best interest to own it. So the decision was made to purchase the new X-ray unit rather than this one. So that's why it was not originally in the budget.
Okay, and you'd like to make a motion?
I move the purchase of the modal X-ray unit.
Discussion.
Yeah, let's have a second first and then we'll have discussion.
I'll second.
Second by Roy. Okay, discussion with question.
It says it's the second one. The first one, there's still one available on the floor that's not one of these two that's been surplus, right?
That's correct. I believe that's correct.
Okay, yes.
So, my discussion is, I mean, there's the O2 unit, right, there's a big price difference between the original purchase price of the O2 and the 16 mil unit, which is the new one we're gonna buy.
Yeah, what, 37?
This also moves us to digital.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
Is that,
Yeah.
additional questions, discussion regarding the portable X-ray units? Hearing none then, it's been moved by Leanna, seconded by Roy, so the vote would be to permit the capital expenditure request for portable X-ray unit, the second vote. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, yeah. Unanimous then? Okay, so then the last is the resolution number 18-07. It's a surplus, I guess, these two mobile X-ray units.
And they have no value. So I move that surplusing two mobile X-ray units.
Second from Roy. Any questions or discussion about this surplus?
So still might be money, or is there no money, just haul them off to the
We probably call them on,
radioactive waste.
because we're supposed to be digital, some of them also want to not be non-digital.
Some of them actually don't work. I mean, one of them literally does not work. They have these different parts.
Waste our garbage on
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion? Hearing none then, all those in favor of resolution 18-07, so surpluses to X-ray units, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Anything else, ma'am?
No.
All right. Operations, it looks like we have kind of a skeleton crew here today.
I am the skeleton crew. I
You
think
deserve
we're all
a-
learning.
You deserve a gold star.
Showing up.
All right, so we have the operations report, 2. Dashboard. So, Rhonda, do you just want to take it, or do we have any questions about giving the Charles report? Or
I just have an update for you on wound care about that to give you an
Okay.
idea of volume.
Yeah, go ahead.
Week 1, we had 14 patients, week 2, 16, and through Wednesday of this week, we had 6. We've had one patient already graduate from the program and not have to come back, and she was actually a Swedish patient, a Swedish referral, and has been seen there by them, and they were really impressed. And they have continued to give us referrals, as well as local clinics, and patients are self-referring. So it's going well, very well.
What's our capacity right now?
I would have to leave that. I know they're fully staffed, but I don't know what the capacity is.
I believe they're currently looking for a half day, so 16 a week.
But there, you mentioned elsewhere that you guys are trying to go slow.
Deliberately, we're trying to, yeah, we don't want to learn by failure.
I'd just like to add, I stuck my head into a puddle on the second day, third day that we had the service, and the consultant who's helping us with that said she saw stuff she has never seen before, that there's clearly a need. And she was having to do research to figure out exactly what was that she was seeing. So there's some really complex there, and obviously a need that being met by the service.
So the actual number of kids they're seeing is below eventual capacity, but it's going to be one ramp up.
Well, and we'll probably never get beyond 8.5 day. Right now, essentially, well, most of the folks that come in the door are new patients. And the new patient intake for a wound care service is at least an hour and a half and usually closer to 2 hours. So once we are seeing a larger percentage of returning patients, we should be able to release the throttle a little bit. But right now, there's two things. One, most folks are new, and the other is we're kind of dealing with the first ones in the door are the sickest of the sick. I don't know that we're seeing many simple routine wounds yet.
Rhonda, I didn't understand what you meant by graduated.
No longer having to come back. Oftentimes you're coming into a wound care clinic maybe 2 or 3 times a week for many weeks. And so this one no longer, their wound is healed and they're doing well.
Wonderful. Good news.
Anything else you'd like to call attention to? I guess, is that to cover Vicki? Is that the idea? I'll expect a corresponding raise in your pay. Covering 3 people. Okay, any questions regarding the patient care operations?
Can I mention a couple things? First of all, Rhonda's been identified by the state of Washington as an EMS trauma representative. What is that?
I think I mentioned back in May that the EMS and trauma system have not had a review of themselves for the last 20 years, and that they will be hiring consultants to do that review and determine if we have the right structure to our EMS and trauma system and whether or not we have the appropriate number of designations, especially for a level 1 facility. And so they have asked me to serve on the committee to review those RFPs for the consultant. So I'll be doing that in October. They haven't selected a date yet, but I'll be able to do that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Martin and I attended the provider meeting at KVH Orthopedics, and one of the things that came up was we tried a number of times to get a joint clinic off the ground so that anyone having total joints would have pre-care and post-care. And so we brought that idea back to Rhonda and Carrie and Vicki, and they're off and running. So we hope to have those people in education beforehand, understanding exactly what the career is going to be, and recovering them, understanding the entire process. So they're working on it.
That would be for
What's that?
patients.
Where would that be located?
Rhonda, where would that be located?
Well, probably pre-op services at the moment is where we would be doing a lot of that. But we would also design it so that they would be able to meet with a financial counselor. If they had any co-pays, we could talk to them about that. We're looking at the full spectrum from the start all the way through until they're home again or outpatient therapy.
So this would be for patients who are looking to have joints. Since I'm in that category, I'm very interested.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So,
Ancillary services, I have a few updates. The 340B program, at the time that I wrote this to you, downtown had brought over 2 signed copies, but they were still in the track changes mode, so we aren't quite ready to sign that contract. We're still working with them on what some of the changes they were requesting. So I'm still very hopeful that they will be signing, but I don't have a signed contract with them yet. Yes, it's been a lot of modeling because they want a very non-traditional contract with 340B, which is very wise of them. As an independent pharmacy, I think that's one of the reasons that they struggled in the past, as did Catalini's. So we're looking at some unique modeling to make sure that it would be a profitable venture for them. So we're being very cautious and careful on both sides. We do have the Teamsters contract that will be coming to you for your approval. We're very excited about that. It was ratified on August 6th by the members of Teamsters for the respiratory therapist. And I think that's my only other updates under ancillary services.
any questions, Rhonda, about ancillary services? Okay. Are you taking clinic operations?
Sure. The biggest thing I think, well, a couple of really big things here. New patients, all providers at Family Medicine Ellensburg are accepting new patients, and we should probably have balloons and confetti for that, but we didn't bring any tonight. So that's just a huge accomplishment, and thank you to all the providers for willing and able to do that, putting that practice up. And the MA apprenticeship program, we will be having some employees graduate in October. It's our first round of graduates, and we have just received one of the nicest letters I think any of us have ever heard from an employee who's so appreciative of being able to work for KVH and being able to be placed through various programs to help in her growth to graduate. So hopefully Carrie will be able to share that with you, or the employee will be invited to share it with you herself. It was quite wonderful.
There'll also be a story coming out in October with both of those graduates to let them tell you, tell the public their story.
And I have nothing else to highlight unless you had questions that this team can help me answer.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Going back to the ancillary services, discussing the 340B program. I know a big focus for the Rural Health Advocacy Days in Washington will be 340B. Is anybody besides Judy, are you going?
I am.
And anybody else going? No, I can't either, so do us proud.
I promise.
I wanted to mention here that I thought this was really cool, Dr. Miles Festival working with the sort of training over in Cleveland. A 6-minute charting reduction per patient is huge.
We also did received a very, very nice email from Dr. Merrill Stetskel to the admin team. I don't know if Julie shared that with you, but he was giving us some positive feedback for choosing Cerner and really saying what a tremendous improvement it is in the care of patients. And we made the right decision, and he's really supportive of that. So we were all happy to hear that.
I wrote him that. I wrote him a really
Well, if it's decreased by 6 minutes, dare I ask what it was prior to that? How much time it was requiring?
I wouldn't be able to answer that. That's
I
okay.
haven't looked at, the last I looked, we were typically spending 20 minutes per chart.
Just in documentation? That's often longer than it isn't. Okay.
I don't think that you can address this, Ron, but some of these third available appointment numbers are all, I don't know what the trends are. But I'll just raise that as a question that we can talk to Carrie about next time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I jump backwards a little bit to like rehab services and PT? So I saw both 48 hours for home health and rehab services. Is that the new standard now? It's 48 hours? Is that
48 hours has always been the standard.
Okay.
We just haven't been able to meet it, and
Okay.
it really has been based on our staffing.
Yeah.
I ended up having to put a traveler in at home health in order to be able to meet that. And we clearly needed to. We were missing it so terribly. And then in rehab, they hired a new PT.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
We
you.
did good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I just want to comment that I find that this operations component of the meeting with the written summaries and then the updates, it to be very, very valuable. I really appreciate the time it takes to prepare the report, the good work that's done, and the communication to the board. Thank you.
We'll share that with the two that
Yes,
didn't make
the
it.
two
We warm out.
Everyone's watching.
I do have an update from Carrie on your question, Matt.
Yeah.
And she said the issues around the flux of providers, with some going out, some coming in. She's talked about Dr. Summers and Powers, and then Dr. Stone arrived. So that's what
Okay.
she's continuing to.
All right.
Tell her we missed her.
Everybody.
No, that's Angelina Jolie.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing under education. Board reports. So business is approval of the Teamsters contracts. We have some.
Penny Youngblood was going to recap in terms of that for you.
Absolutely. So I had, I think last month before, I had brought a handout for you, and I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of some of the changes or some of the highlights from the contract. So really quickly, it will be a 4-year contract, which is different from some of our other collective bargaining agreements. So it will actually expire June 1, 2022. Yay. It does cover all registered respiratory therapists of every single category, whether per diem, part-time, or full-time.
All of them?
All of them. All 4 of them, yes. Yes. We did actually maintain their PTO from their non-contract status into their contract, so nothing changed there. Same with their extended illness bank. There was no change from their current status into their collective bargaining agreement status. We did actually have some good conversation around wages. We were able to agree on a standard formula to apply to the wage scales, resulting in a 1.6% consistent increase with each step. And we also added 2 additional steps to their 22-step wage scale, one taking effect in 2020 and the other taking effect in 2021. We had a lot of conversation on premium pay. It always comes down to the economics, and we talked about standby on call, callback, call-in on regular scheduled day off, their weekend shift differentials, and they'll experience some increases immediately, including forecasted increases out to 2021. So those are a big topic. Also, just kind of cleaned up the grievance procedure to make it more formalized. And their health insurance, there were no changes to their current status as a non-contracted employee onto the collective bargaining agreement. So there was no change in that at all. So that's a high level. Any questions on that?
Any questions about the collective bargaining agreement before we open?
What's that?
It seems to be redundant.
They're happy, absolutely, yeah. And the changes that that we ended up talking a lot of time around about the premium pay, their wages, were things that we have been looking at as an organization as a whole, regardless. So it was a good win for them as well as for us.
Okay. So do I have a motion regarding the Teamsters Registered Respiratory Therapist contract?
Motion?
Motion to approve, yeah. Okay, motion from Erica to approve. A second?
Second.
Second from Liana. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, then all those in favor of approving the Teamsters Registered Respiratory Therapist contract, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Nothing under new business, community relations report, Charlotte.
So the one initial follow-up from the report that's in there is under others. You'll see that we talked about, we're calling it Arts Commission right now. I think that name's going to evolve because basically what we're looking at is the whole environment, whether it be the exterior of the building and what type of art we want to put out there, whether it be the hallways, whether it be the mirrors, things like that. But we're putting together a team to look at that, and I'd like to have some board representation on that.
I'd be really interested, Mike, a very big background in art.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Okay, great, thank you very much. And so then I also included a very kind of upper task-oriented our communication plan overview for everything that's going on with the master site facilities plan. We really were looking at what are the components of this. So we've got Radio Hill Annex, the Medical Arts Center, phase 1, phase 2. It'll develop into, as 309 changes with the move of speech and OT over there, that will include. So we were looking, what are the initial building components? Who are our audiences at every single level, whether it be the stakeholders that are moving, whether it's the employees, whether it's providers, internal and external, the patients that are actually using those clinics versus the community at large, as well as our partners, the foundation, HD2, and the tenants that are in MAC, as well as the property management, just to make sure that we thought of everyone. So I don't know if you had a chance to review that or if you have any thoughts, questions, feedback, comments.
Matt, Roy, I think you had some input at the top of your clinicians that people didn't understand what was going on in the hospital.
Yeah, a little bit. I think, people still weren't sure whether we were moving south of the campus.
So one of the big things that we're going to do internally, which I don't know if that's already in the copy of commissioners or not, is we're going to develop a internet construction corner. Within just the KVH intranet will be some information, and the internet will be more of a higher level of information for the public. And so we wanted to make sure that you saw this communication plan before we move forward. And then the goal is to start rolling some of this stuff out within the next week or so. And as big things happen, not only will it be on the intranet, we can put it out in announcements, and one of our quality display posters that we're going to be updating here within the next month or so, that's also going to contain some high-level information because that's seen by both employees and the public. The newsletter, we're looking at September, October for the newsletter, and not only will that include information on our facility plan, but we're also going to use that to update the public on the progress of the strategic plan. What we said we were going to do, where we are at on that, and how we plan on moving forward. So those are just some of our bigger highlighted points. Any questions on that?
What?
Yep.
What does CR?
Yeah.
Community relations. Sorry about
Thank you.
that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is really just me scratching.
But who is CR? That was my question too, but I have one other.
That's us. What's your other question?
What under collaborations, KVH partnered with Jazz in the Valley to make Sunday, July 29th a free day for the festival. What does that mean, a free day? Everyone goes to Jazz in the Valley for free?
Yes.
Yeah, that happens.
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes. It was a 100% free event. They said that he hasn't seen the official numbers, but doubled, tripled the attendance for that day.
And we made them walk in 3 or 4 KVH banners and buy our tables on
I like that. Boy, that seemed like a big loss of potential income.
Well, we supported them. It was through collaboration that we supported that event, and it actually happened late enough in the game that all of their materials had gone to print, so they were paying catch up when it came to recognition and us being there. But we're already talking about how we can improve that next year.
So what do you think would be included in the newsletter for the community in October, November?
That main topic is going to be facilities planning. The strategic planning, we'll be talking about the new services that we've rolled out, and then probably a patient story.
So is the idea, as I look at some of the stuff for the community, and we're talking about what we're doing, which is good, the 309, Radio Hill, the MAC, all that stuff. Are we going to come right out and say, what we decided at the last meeting, that we're not doing?
I think a very small history to start out. This is what we've done. This is where we are, kind of how we've gotten there.
Yeah, that sounds
But very, very clearly and straightforwardly, we are not going, at this juncture, we have no plans to build south of the hospital.
So, and following the last, when you rescinded those motions.
Month or two, I don't remember.
Okay, so we put it out in the announcements. I put it out in my recap of the board meeting. We put that out there as much as we can.
Okay, good.
And then also,
But I still
the
get
paper was here and
questions.
reported it also.
Yeah, they did.
I just want to say that just last week, I had a question, what are you going to do about the square block south of the campus? And are you still planning to close Spokane Street? So maybe just by itself, not buried in a lot of other history and context, just
We'll put a banner on top of the
Yeah, we can really, I don't disagree with anything you're saying about being clear about the history, but there's also only so we can lead the horse to water.
Yeah, I get that.
I
mean,
think
very,
what you
very-
suggested for the newsletter sounds good.
Okay. Anything else on that part of that communication plan? I just wanted to give you an update on the visual campaign for the mission, vision, and values. We've developed some material. We wanted to connect with Julie to make sure we were all on the same page, and those things are going to start going out for quotes and getting some pricing, and you should start actually seeing things here within the next 3-4 weeks.
Some big visuals.
Some very big visuals.
Oh, that's great.
There'll be a lot of things happening within this building. There'll be things that aren't permanent per se within the clinics because of the different shuffles that are going on, but we're definitely not forgetting about those. And not only are you going to be seeing things here, like for example, next month's cinema, we're going to transition that, and I've asked Jan to take the direction of our core values, tying it in with patients. And so we're going to be doing things like that, and then the ad campaign, especially along patient stories, focusing on that. So it's not, people don't have to come here to see what our core values are. We want to push those out as well. And then lastly, I just wanted to remind you that, so social media is a big part of our communication component, and we've also just started up a Facebook page for Hospital District 2. And one of the algorithms that Facebook uses is the more activity and views and likes and things like that, the wider our audience becomes. So if you haven't liked, share, that would be very helpful for Hospital District 1 and Hospital District 2. We also have LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook. And Instagram, sorry. What's that? Do you tweet? Oh, thank you, tweeting. Yes, there is some tweeting. CR.
Yeah.
The CR.
These are tweeters.
Come see
And I
our board,
have
you'll see
access
everything.
to
that
tweet
we do.
at 3 in the morning. Yeah, just from 3 to 4 in the morning. That's all.
You can be a tweeter at that time.
There's a scheduling mechanism there. Any other questions for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Ellensburg Farmers Market on September 8th.
Yes.
Do you want, what do you have to, is that just a reminder that it's happening? or do
Yes,
you want
it's a reminder that's happening. However, that is, it's a tentative. We've reached out to the farmers market. My employee is also sensitive to the smoke. So I told her she does not have to be out there if it's hazy skies now. Life is good right now. So our plan is to be out there, but she has kind of reached out to the market just as a FYI in case things are bad. And then we'll also be up at Roslyn. We have a couple more in both of those. The level 1 water safety courses are going to begin with the city in September. So that's exciting. And we'll be, once that actually, when they release that schedule, we'll be pushing that information out. Yeah, and then just other fun things to look forward to.
Michelle, these reports are really valuable. Thank you for taking the time to do them. I think we all really appreciate them.
I appreciate the communications plan. This is a format that I can follow.
Yeah.
Because whenever I think, oh, are we doing? Well, I can just look. And
Awesome. Thanks. And stop by anytime. We just revamped our board that really kind of shows, we're getting into 2019 already. So if you have any questions.
Any last questions for Michelle?
No, but I'd like to say that all of the reports have been really.
Come on, I was winning there for a while.
I don't consider.
Great. Great.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
So, Julie, how much time do you think we need in the next session?
I would say 20, 30 minutes.
All right, so since that's not a whole lot of time, let's take a 15-minute break so we can get some eat things. So let's say till 10 after 8. We'll go on break till 20 minutes to 8, and then we'll meet in
15 minutes.
well.
10 minutes.
All right, fine. All right, so 10 minutes to 35.
Let me just split this.
Over that 5 minutes, yeah, we'll do 12 and a half minutes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the 5 minutes. A lot of plans to make. All right, yeah, that's right. I'm going to talk for 2.5 more minutes. All right, so we'll break till 7:40.
That would be strong.
Sorry, 7:35. 7:35, and then we'll meet for a half an hour. Let's plan a half an hour with exec session. So that's till 5 after 8. We will reconvene in open session at 8:05.